Hey everybody, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So today I'm here to go through the books that I read in February. A little late to the game, but we'll get through it. I read 7 books in February, which is kind of crazy because usually I have a hard time picking up books in February. But it all worked out, right? And I read some really good books. And I'm not surprised because I picked up some of my favorite authors. Plus I tried a couple new authors. Plus I tried a Neck Alley audiobook. It was a whole gamut of books and it was a good ride. First one I want to talk about is Magic Hour by Kristen Hanna. This was a 5-star prediction for me, so you've probably heard me talk about it before if you have been here. If not, here we go. We have our main character, Julia Cates. She is a child psychiatrist. She's facing some interesting times. She is personally taking the blame for an event that happened with one of her patients. She's kind of being publicly shamed a little bit for it and kind of just needs a break. And it comes at the right time that she has to go back to her sister. Her sister, who lives in the Pacific Northwest, is the police chief of a very small town where they grew up. And this child just kind of appears out of the woods. Small little girl, doesn't talk. It's as if she's a wild child, that she like grew up with a pack of wolves or something. And so she calls Julia up there to hopefully help with this child to figure out where did she come from, where are her parents, how can we fix this situation. So really great book, deals with having to deal with your past, questioning your abilities. Where did this kid come from? It was fantastic, really enjoyed it. I think he gave it 5 stars. Another great book by another awesome author, Diane Chamberlain. This is Summer's Child. Very similar kind of premise. So we have North Carolina, we have Daria, as she is, how old is she? 11. She finds a newborn baby that was abandoned on the beach and brings it home. And they go through all of the rigmarole to try to figure out where this baby came from. What do they do? Daria's family ends up adopting Shelly. And so we fast forward 20 years. Shelly's 20 and desperately wants to know where she came from. And kind of they're weighing the pros and cons of, do we figure that out? Do we not? It's sometimes mysteries are left are good to leave a mystery. Do we want to uncover this? It's a whole thing, and Diane Chamberlain does a fantastic job telling this story. Highly recommend. Loved this book. Next one I want to talk about is The Rose Code. Oh, such a big book that I took way too long to read because of course I'm going to love it. It's Kate Quinn. So we have World War II historical fiction. We have 3 friends. What are their names? Beth, I can't remember. Here. All right, dual timelines, 1940 England and 1947 England. We have Osla, Beth, and Mabel. So we get a bit of a prologue, and it gives us the 1947 timeline, and we learn that the 3 of them do not speak it at all. They are all mad at each other. It's not good. It's not good. Their relationship has basically crumbled, and so one of them is crying out for help and the other 2 don't know if they want to help her. So then we go back in time those 7 years to when they first met in 1940 at Bletchley Park, which is actually based on a true place where a number of people went to be code breakers during World War II to break the German, I think it's called the Enigma Code, which they thought was unbreakable, but it wasn't. So we go through them getting their jobs there, learning their jobs there, becoming really good friends, and everything else that comes along with being this code breaker during World War II. So I love that we had these dual timelines. I love that we had this like, where is this mystery? Where is this going to converge and what is going to happen with this relationship, because they're so close. And then the author's note is fantastic and worth the read. She did her research. It's so fantastic. She talks about where she learned of this story, who she kind of based characters off of, what events really did happen, what events didn't happen. It's fantastic. I really loved it. And it made me go down a bit of a rabbit hole. I'm not going to lie. So Rose Code was fantastic. 5 stars, I'm pretty sure. Next one I picked up was The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. This is one that I was seeing all over social media, kind of as being like the most twisty, mystery, crazy books I've read, which don't get me wrong, it's twisty, there's mystery, but I wouldn't call it like my most crazy book I've read. It didn't make me go like, what? Yet still a solid book. So we have a couple. We have Sarah and Adam. They're married. Sarah is a very successful defense attorney in Washington, D.C., like the best. This is who you get. She's fantastic at her job. And Adam is an aspiring writer. And so their marriage is fine. And until one day when Sarah learns that Adam has a mistress and he has been seeing her at their lake home. And he just woke up to her dead body next to him. And he's now the prime suspect. And I mean, if you're getting the best defense attorney for him, it's going to be her. So here's a wife defending her husband who apparently killed his mistress and everything else that goes along with it. Now, were there twists and turns? Absolutely. Was this like the most mind-blowing, craziest thriller ever? Not really. So I don't know if my expectations are just too high or this didn't hit the mark. I still would highly recommend it. If you are into this genre, absolutely read it. Definitely good. I think I was expecting more. So more on me, not the book. Still fantastic. All right, another book that I ended up listening to is 3 Hours in Paris by Cara Black. This is the first in a series, and we have our main character who has trained to be an assassin during World War II. And there's reasons why she went into becoming this assassin, what happened, and so you kind of get her backstory and you get kind of to understand how she ticks. So she is sent to Paris while Hitler is in Paris, and her job is to assassinate him. And we go from there. And it's so good. I did not expect to really love this book as much as I did. But man, she is such a tough character. Like, such a tough character. I loved it. And it was a pretty, if I recall, it wasn't a super long audiobook. It was pretty quick. Narrator was fantastic as well. Another book I picked up was actually based on a recommendation during our Book to Besties virtual reading retreat that we had in February. And this is The Unexpected Mrs. Polifax by Dorothy Gilman. So this is a series of books that I would consider like a cozy mystery, but it's an older woman. She's in her 80s and she's kind of like done everything. She's kind of bored with her life a little bit. And she's like, you know what? I've always wanted to be a spy for the CIA. I think that would be really cool. So she just shows up one day and says, hey, if you want a spy, here I am. And through some quirky things that happen, she ends up getting hired to be this spy and is sent off on a mission. And oh my goodness, you cannot help but love her. I loved the story, even though this was written, I want to say in the 60s, like it just still felt relevant. Like I could connect with it today. And I love Mrs. Polifax. This is one that I feel like I will continue to read the series whenever I need that little palate cleanser, because I couldn't put it down. I couldn't stop it. It was awesome. I want to say I gave it a good like 3.5, 3.75 stars. Like it's an easy read, but it's super cute. I don't know. There's just something about it that I'm hooked. Mrs. Polifax is my friend now. And then the next book that I read, I think the last book, I think that's everything that I read in February, is Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I ended up seeing this a little bit, I think it just came out, right? Yeah. Let me double check. Oh, January 2022. So still not like super old. But it came across my radar, I want to say on social media, and then during our reading retreat, someone was reading this and I'm like, you got to tell me how it is. And she totally got me intrigued by it because it's just written in such a unique way. And I think this is what I was kind of looking for when I was picking this up, which they're very different. Yet this one just delivered that like, give me something different type of a vibe that I was looking for. So we have our main character, Ernie, and he kind of starts us all out. It's written so cool. Benjamin did such a good job. So we have where are we? Here we go. So this is even before the prologue, before the title page, before everything. We have 10 Commandments of Detective Fiction right here. And this is like the recipe for like writing the perfect detective fiction, like your Agatha Christie, like, you know, the one. And it even tells you like bold here, like keep this in place. So then you go past your title page and you get into your prologue, and this is where Ernie is talking to us as a reader. He breaks down that fourth wall and he includes us into this story, and he kind of gives us the setup, pretty much. To the point where he even calls out, if you're just here for the gory details of the deaths in this book that are going to be happen or have reported happen, here are all the page numbers of where it's going to happen. Like he just sets it up so well. And then he breaks the book up into family members, following each family member and then who they killed, because everyone in the family has killed someone. And we go through this story, and they are basically trying to reunite at this isolated ski resort during a storm, and things start happening. And he still includes you in the narrative and includes you in the story, and will even point out and be like, well, if you know what the page number is, you'll know what happens. Like, it's so good, to the point that my daughter Riley actually picked this up, and I don't think she's ever read a book so fast. So I'm going to take that as a win. But it's fantastic. There were parts that were somewhat confusing, so I'm going to give it a good 4.5 stars. I still would highly recommend it if you're looking for something a little different. I loved it so much. And one of those that I borrowed from the library, and now I'm regretting that I didn't buy it. That usually happens. Anyways, that's what I read in February. As far as for what's up in March, I have a couple 5-star predictions to get to, and then of course, my stack of middle grade March, which I've already read 2 middle grades and a memoir. So, I mean, we're doing pretty good for March so far. I'll take it. I don't know how much of this I'm going to get to. I don't know how much of a middle grade I'll be able to stay in without having something else. But I think this is going to be the next one I pick up. But then people keep talking about this one. That's super awesome. I don't know. There's a whole stack, and they're fantastic. And I'm loving it. So that's kind of what's upcoming. Yeah, let me know if you've read any books lately that have that wow factor. Comment below, give me those lists. Hopefully I have them on my shelf somewhere. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.